Okay, so for today what we're going to do is we are going to move on to the next lesson in hands-on equations. I'd like you to do your notes, write on your homework. Again, we're going to put our first and last name. We're going to work on lesson 10 today. Also remember to put your hour, whatever that may be. And then today's date, 9, I believe it's 26/16, whatever date we have. And we're going to work on lesson 10. So again, we're going to work on hands-on equations. So we're going to go back to the app. And again, I do not want you to put the app up right now. I just want you to be taking notes. So we're in the second app. We're looking at lesson 10, and we're looking at example B. Now this looks a little bit different than what we had before. Before we never had a star and an x on the same side. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up our balance. We're going to go 2x plus star plus x equals x plus 5. Now yesterday, or the last time we met, we learned that if x was 4, star would be -4. Okay? Or if star was 2, x would be -2. So they're opposites. Since they're opposites together, they cancel each other out. They form a 0. And so what we're going to do is anytime we have a white pawn and a blue pawn next to each other on the same side of the balance, they cancel each other out or like explode. So these two, for example, are next to each other on the same side of the balance, and boom, they explode. Okay? So when you do this in your assignment, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down the problem. So example B, it's 2x plus star plus x equals x plus 5. And again, we combine like terms. We don't expand anymore. So you'll notice that we have a x, 2x, and an x. So we get 3x plus star equals x plus 5. And those two next to each other exploded. So I'm going to go minus x minus star. I'm going to take them away. Again, they have to be on the same side. It's like a chemical reaction. And I'm left with 2x equals x plus 5. Okay? So I'm going to go back to my app for just a minute. And again, it always kicks me off, but that's no big deal. We'll go back and we'll take a look at this problem again. So again, I have 2x plus star plus x equals x plus 5. And by combining like terms, all I did was take this and sneaked it over with its other blue friends. Okay? So that's how I get the 3x plus star equals star plus 5. And again, the blue pawn and the white pawn next to each other make that chemical reaction. So they both minus x minus star. Okay? And this leaves me with what was left on my notes. So again, what can I take away from each side? Well, I can take 1x. So minus 1x minus 1x. And then I'm left with x equals 5. So I'm going to go back to my notes. And I'm going to go minus x, and I get x equals 5. Now, I know what x is, but you'll notice that when I do my check, and again I do my check on the right-hand side, this is nothing different than what we've done before, I write the original problem, okay, I've got an x to plug in, but you notice I don't have a star. Well, this takes us back to the last notes we had. When we know x is 5, star would be the opposite, which is -5. And yes, you need to put that on every problem because when you check, you're going to be using that. So I'm going to go 2 times 5 plus -5 plus 5 equals 5 plus 5. And now we do our order of operations. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 5 is 10 plus -5 plus 5 equals, and I can bring these two together, which of course is 10. Okay, I'm going to keep going. 10 and -5 are 5 plus 5 equals 10, and I get 10 equals 10, and it's a check. So then later on now you can go ahead and you can put this problem into your app. Let's go on to the next example. This is going to be example C. Same rules as before. I'm going to go ahead and write it down. Let's go back to the app. And again, you are not having your app up. Do not have your app up. You can enter this in later, okay? So I'm going to go into this problem, and I've got 4x, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a star. I have an x, and I have 2x plus 5. Now you're going to notice on this one, I don't have to combine like terms. They're already combined, so I don't need to worry about that. I need to take a look at getting rid of the x and the star at the side. So I wouldn't take away x's yet. I'd go ahead and I'd explode these two first. So you would take those away. So I'm going to go back to our notes, and I'm going to go ahead and write down that problem. So it's 4x plus star plus 1 equals 2x plus 5. Okay, I don't combine like terms because there's nothing to combine. I'm going to subtract an x and I'm going to subtract a star because remember they were next to each other. I get 3x plus 1 equals 2x plus 5. Okay, I can take x's from each side. I can take away 2x. I'm left over with an x plus 1 equals 5. Now I can take away numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and minus 1, and I end up with x equaling 4. Star then would equal negative 4, because remember they're opposites. So now my check, okay, before I go into my check, I'm going to go back into my app and I'm going to show you how we did this with my pawns. So again, I had 4x, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I had a star, and then I had a number, and that equaled 2x plus 5. Okay? Again, there's nothing to combine. I'm going to take away my x's and stars if I possibly can first. So those explode, and that was that minus x minus star on our notes. Then I'm going to take away 2 x's from each side. And then I'm going to take away my number and make this a 4. So you'll notice that x is 4 and star was negative 4. So when you put it into the app, they are actually going to ask you for the other number. And now they'll open up the check. Okay? And then you do the check like you normally do. So let's go back into our check like we talked about. And I write the original problem. So 4x plus star plus 1 equals 2x plus 5. I'm going to take out my x and I'm going to put in my 4. So 4 times 4 plus negative 4, because that's what star is, plus 1 equals 2 times 4 plus 5. Okay, order of operations tells me to multiply first. So 4 times 4 is 16. Again, one step at a time on each side of the equation. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, now I'm going to add from left to right. So 16 plus a negative 4 is 12. And I'm going to add these two and make 13. 13 equals 13, and that's a check. So if you go back into the app, you're able to make a 13 and 13, and it would go ahead and pop you through that. Okay. Again, couple of main things that we do when we do this. Don't expand, and we've talked about this before. Okay, if anything, once you write down the original problem, you combine like terms, and that's nothing new. We've done that before. What's new today is that when I have an X and I have a star, that's the white and the blue pawns, they explode. And you go minus x minus star on your paper. Okay? Then you go ahead and see what pawns you can take away, you see what numbers you can take away, and that's all that's new for today. I want you to do your best on this. If you have questions, I'm available. Make sure that you ask those questions as they come up.